Well, welcome to the channel, viewers. We're going to do some electric hydrofoiling during this teaching. Just on the final sequences before entering the water, just making sure the camera's right. Again, we're continuing to show you all the different things you can be involved in to give your relationship space, to give yourself identity, and all these things can be balanced within the structure of your relationship, because you can overdo hobbies and exercise as well. And you can ask my girls that I've had, I never neglected them because of my exercise regime and hobby regime. I always kept it balanced. I never wanted to let them feel neglected. As we are gaining momentum, we're about to take off on the hydrofoil. I hope you enjoyed the footage of Gosford on the Central Coast, New South Wales. You will notice the jelly blubbers. They're a real problem today. Like the hydrofoil, relationships are built slowly. You don't just stand up on the hydrofoil, you've got to prepare, you've got to be ready, you've got to build speed once you're in the water and all systems and sequences are pre-prepared and your training's done. Then once you get in the water and engage the controller with the hydrofoil, you go through a series of speeds until you get to a speed that enables you to be going fast enough for the wings on the hydrofoil to lift in the water, and the board and yourself lift up out of the water, and all traction is lost. Everything goes silent and you're walking on water. There's some footage looking down over the front of the hydrofoil. You can see the board is not on the water. It's probably about 500 mil off the water, because I encountered jelly blubbers again, which you'll see passing, and they have the capability of knocking you off the board. And so it is with the relationship. You've got to start slow. That's what we're learning. Rushing in, bonding straight away, committing yourself without knowing the person that well. No. It's not good for you, and it's not good for them. Yes, there is such a thing as love at first sight. I'm not going to argue that. Yeah, there is such a thing. But there's also such a thing as wisdom as well. And where wisdom's applied, so is, for the most part, a promise of a good outcome. When you think about it, even if things go wrong and you apply wisdom, that's looking over the hydrofoil. When things go wrong and it looks like it's going to end and there's going to be a breakup, when you apply wisdom there, it can make things a lot smoother. And of course, if you apply wisdom to the recovery process after the breakup, that can help your mental health as well. Many of you right now, as I speak, are suffering from the trauma and the shock of a slow, beleaguered journey to a breakup, or resolve has worn away, unresolved, has worn away to you, the point where you're just not prepared to take or tolerate anymore. And by consequence, you just break down. You mentally break down. And that's not what a great relationship is about. No. Your relationship shouldn't get to the point where you experience stress to the point of having little mental episodes where you have pain in the back of your mind. Pain that's not supposed to be there. Pain that affects the way you think and the way you perform. You can't get on one of these on drugs or alcohol. It's not going to happen. You can't hydrofoil without all your senses there. There's too many intricate micro movements. You can see all my muscles are constantly twitching and moving and adjusting and adapting in microseconds to keep things on track. And it's the same with a relationship. There's all little mental, emotional movements and changes that you have to learn to be aware of in your partner. So that as the relationship goes on, you familiarize with the psyche of the person that you're with. And as you familiarize and harmonize with the ups and downs and ins and outs of the one that you're trying to build something substantial with and then with you, that's called maturing. You're maturing into one another, becoming one. One in mind, one in heart, one in spirit, and most of all, one in purpose. Purpose, such an important part of the relationship. And it can be multiple, it can be diverse. Your purpose for your children, your purpose for your individual health, the support and the order and the boundaries that you need to put around that, the purpose for the way in which you eat, the purpose for the way in which you make love, the purpose in the way in which you have intimate time together and just casual time together, your commitment and purpose and support to work, being responsible with your bills, playing your part, not being irresponsible and wasting money on things that are going to bring harm and doubt to the relationship. Your relationship is not just a mantle or a pot plant sitting on a shelf. It has your full psychological attention, whether you're aware of it or not. And if you don't believe me, you feel the impacts that it has, both positive and negative, on your person. We think that we can go into a relationship and neglect it. And that's what these teachings are about, teaching people to understand that there's no room or time for neglect in a relationship. Neglect always brings pain, always brings heartache and headaches. That's what neglect does. It's like the hydrofoil hitting the water there and the turbulence coming off the rails, the headaches. That's what neglect does. The migraines, the entraining on the mind and trauma as a consequence, trying harder to make things change instead of letting go. And when you let go, it's not a form of negligence either. We let go to pause and rebuild. To pause, understand what is happening, do a post-mortem, do a diagnosis, hopefully join together when the dust is settled and work it out. Fortunately, this isn't always the case depending on the circumstances. And resolve. Resolve's the key. Everything rises and falls on resolve. Without resolve, there is no healing. There is no restoration. There is no reformation. Resolve is the ointment of the heart. Resolve is the bandage for the mind. And resolve is the catalyst for intimacy. And that's just a view of what I'm looking at from the position that I'm standing in. That's looking down over the board. That's resolving what I'm doing. Resolve is the anesthetic on the wound, the stitch that puts it back together, and the scar that reminds you that things can be solved if we're prepared to go through the pain and the effort to do it. Too many people today are losing their relationships because they're failing to face uncomfortable things about themselves. And to face these things, sometimes we need to go and get help. Professional help. People that can sit there without any partiality and look at us and say, hey, we need to have a little look-see at this. Someone you can trust. And as you resolve, you come back. Look, you come back into port. You land. You get through all the splashes and the turbulence. And you arrive back at the dock safely. And everyone's happy. This is Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist. Thank you for joining me, and bye for now.